Okay, in today's video, we have the ugliest, filthiest Kohler engine that I've seen in a while. It is just full of goo. This stuff is like, look, it's chunks and chunks of just gooey, nasty stuff. And it's probably coming from that seal, but it's also coming from this sump gasket. He replaced this seal a while ago, and there is just like a half-inch thick of goo all over in this thing. So I guess my next step is, before I go tearing this apart and finding out what else is going on, because it was very, very noisy, this engine. It was banging, clunking, popping. It was just terrible. Sounded like it was half dead. So we're going to investigate all this today, and well, I guess the first step is, well, I'm draining the oil right now. The first step is I'm going to take all these little scrapers. I'm going to scrape what I can off, and then I'm going to bring this engine out and pressure wash it. And then I'm going to tear it apart, and you and I will see what's going on in there, if anything. It could just be, who knows, but it sounded terrible. So I'm going to set you up on the bench and start scraping. I don't know if I'll get all the scraping on video, but here, I'll show you what this came out of. It came out of this X mark. And of course, it's all gooey there. I got big chunks all over my floor. Just goo everywhere. So I'm going to start scraping and get you guys set up so you can see. Okay, we're going to start scraping goo. The reason I do this is I don't want this goo all over the property when I pressure wash it. It's not good for, just plain messy. I don't want this crap all over the place. So I'm going to just scrape as much goo out of here. And of course, you don't want it in the engine when you're working on it, because it's got dirt in it. So I get rid of all this crap first. Just kind of scrape it out of there, put it in a box. There'll still be some on the ground, but at least I'm being a little careful and nice, That's how we're going to do this. We're going to scrape it all out. Look at this big mess in here. This is, ugh. Wonder if the seal's in or out. Yep, the seal is still in there. Where's all this stuff coming from? It is messy, this thing. Look at this glom. You couldn't hardly see the stator in there. And then the glom mess. These commercial mowers, they go through hell. There's so much dirt flying around and so much grass flying around, and this one I rebuilt a hydrostatic trans on a few years ago for the guy. That was blowing oil all over the place, and some of it actually got in here. I know it did, because when they leak, it sucks right in the intake of the engine, and that makes a mess too. So you can get hydraulic oil in your engine on these X marks and some other models too, because it sucks right through the transmissions to help cool the transmissions. And what happens is, when they leak, it can get oil in your engine, but this engine is definitely a leaker. I mean, it's soaked, wet, nasty. But I was expecting to see symptoms of a head gasket, like a big blowout someplace, but I don't really see much of that. So we're going to tear it apart and investigate it. If it's worth it, we're going to reseal it and hope for the best. Oh, look at this goo. Oh my gosh. It is just piles and piles of goo in here. And people wonder why this stuff takes so long. You gotta do this. You can't just put it together all gooey, Gotta clean it up, and you can't get the dirt and goo in the engine when you're working on it, so it's gotta come off. Yeah, I'm gonna order a complete gasket set for it if it's worth it. But if I find internal damage, like a bad rod or a bad, because like I said, this engine was noisy. If I find something bad, we're going to find him another mower or another something, another engine, whatever. We'll figure it out. But at this point, we're going to try with this kohler we got. Like I said, these aren't bad engines. They go through hell. And he's had this quite a few years. So, okay, this is kind of ungooey enough for the cleaning process outside, which I'm gonna get a hand bringing this out. It's a little on the heavy side for me, but I got issues, you know. So we got the engine scraped. I'm going to scrape all these covers out. And then I'll bring us outside and we'll wash it just to get the rest of the gooeys out of it. And then we can start tearing it apart and see if it's worth fixing. And of course, I'm bringing you guys along for most of the ride at least. So we'll be out there pressure washing in a minute. But I think this scraping of all this goo is going to get boring for you. So I'll just scrape that one out, scrape other things off, and I'll meet you outside. Well, at least it's very nice out today. And it wash this thing up, get it back inside, and then we'll find out what's wrong with it. one more time. I want to get all directions here, all angles, I guess. And you always find more when you look from another direction. Yep, I've had more up under there. Okay, I think that about does it for that. I don't really care for pressure washing engines because it always hits corners and splats back all over you. Well, there it is washed. We're going back to the bench in a minute. Okay, we are back here on the bench with this awesome Kohler that used to be really, really gooey in here. Well, I pressure washed it. Then I blew it all out with air, and I got it pretty clean. I mean, there's some nasties, but there's not chunks that are going to fall in the engine. That's the important part. You don't want to drop chunks of dirt in your engine. You got to keep it clean in there. So, let's see. Oops, wrong socket. Let's see what we can find out about this engine. We'll pull the valve covers. If I find this engine is good enough and worthy, I am going to get a complete gasket set for it. But for now, we're going to tear it apart and see if it's worthy. Because if I find something really bad, then I don't do the job, we find another mower. Because it's just not worth it. These are pretty simple. Nut and washer. They're not really torqued really hard. These heads, very simple engine to work on. They have hydraulic lifters in them, so you don't really have valve adjustment. They work just fine. This one's a little tight to get to, but you can get to it. Okay, so let's see what this cylinder looks like and this head gasket looks like. Not bad. Not bad at all. A little carboned up, which usually means a little oil burning. But I don't see anything major yet. I'm saving these washers. These are special washers. Okay, so this side is looking all right. But we're still going to do a head gasket and everything else. And like I said, I want to check this whole engine over. I want to do a leak down test, which means put brake fluid in each side and see how long it takes to leak down. Because it'll tell you if it's sealed or not. I already drained the oil out of this engine. So now for the other side, we're going to do the same thing. I'll pull the head off quick, making sure you guys got a pretty good view. I could get you in there even closer, I think, and without getting in the way, I hope. Raise you up a little bit, angle you down a little bit, and ooh, you're like right in there, but I'm a little too close to work, so I gotta have you about, there's about the best I can do. How's that? So, let's pull this one and see what we got. Yeah, this engine just sounded horrible. And I don't really know why. Oh, there's why. There's one. There's a reason. We have a loose rocker and it just twisted sideways. That's not good. Yeah, the whole thing twisted sideways and kind of got goofed up there. I wonder if I could turn this to the point where that has no pressure on it, like that. And maybe put it back in, but still that's not right. We're gonna have to find out why I did that twist off of there. And you can see it's been like that a while. So, yeah. But like I said, this thing leaks like a sieve. So there's our reason for our running horrible and making all this noise, because that was making a racket against there, just clattering around. And it's because this whole thing twisted on here. And they believe it probably just came loose and twisted, because, yeah, you can twist it all over the place. It's all loose. So we gotta fix that. That one's nice and tight. We gotta find out why though. Push rod's not bent. So let's pull that off. Let's see what we got. Okay. There doesn't seem to be any kind of keeper for it. You just kind of tighten it in there really good. Well, I'll make sure it's nice and dry when I do it, and I'll use Loctite in there. But we're good for now. And what I do is I'm going to put these heads with their parts. You know what I mean? Like that head goes with that valve cover gasket. That head goes with that valve cover gasket. So I'll make a little room over here. I know you can't like see all the way over here, but I got that head with its parts, and this head is going to go with its parts, and that's the flywheel washer. Okay, so we're all organized here now. I like to keep it organized. So, like I said, we're going to throw head gaskets in. We're going to throw some parts at it, some seals. I haven't got them, so I can't do that in today's video. But today's video is all about the teardown. We're going to tear this thing down and just see if anything else is wrong. The cylinder on the other side looks great. Wonder how we're going to do over here. But yep, there's our problem. That rocker arm just twisted around and goofed it all up. Okay, so there's this head off. How's our cylinder? Ooh, there's a bent push rod. Ooh, need a push rod. At least we learned something from this. We learned that we got a bent push rod and a twisted valve. And no sign of a blown head gasket though. Oh, wait, that cylinder's a little messy because of all the, you know, that valve not working properly. But it looks like we're just going to be able to reseal this engine and get it done. But like I said, I want to clean all this up. And I'm going to do a leak down test, which means I'll stand this upright like that. And I'll dump some fluid in it and see if it goes right down through or not. That will help tell me if that's good, but the cylinder walls look really nice. If you put it all the way down like that, and if I get a rag, you can see better that the cylinder walls look good, really. So, yeah, I gotta clean all this out too. But yeah, this side's almost ready for a leak down test. I can use some brake fluid because it's a thin fluid and it doesn't evaporate. So I'm going to do a leak down test on this and check it out. But that's It's a little short of a video, but at least I know that we're going to reseal this whole engine, and we need one push rod, and like I said, I'll put some Loctite on that keeper and make that stay in place. We need head gaskets that comes with the whole gasket set. Let's see how this looks under the head gasket. The head gaskets were good though. Ooh, there's one spot that's a little iffy though. Yeah, definitely. Right there was a little bit. Yep, there was a little leakage right there. On that side, you can see it's just crunchy and got a crack in it. So yep, we had a little leaky head gasket, probably from over compression from that valve being screwed up. It couldn't push the compression out the exhaust, so it was building a little extra. It probably blew that head gasket. So we got a little cleaning to do, a leak down test, and in my next video I will do some more. Actually, in my next video we're going to reseal this whole engine completely. New seals, new gaskets everywhere, because now I'm confident this thing is not going to be a problem. I don't even need rings, I don't think, until I do a leak down test, like I said. But I don't see any real evidence of needing them, except for this oil all over, which could have been caused by the valve. I've seen that happen, you know. So, yeah, I think it was all due to that valve is what the problem was. And I dropped a little bit of dirt down in there, probably from the head gasket. So I keep everything clean when I do engine work. So I got to pull all this. There's only a few little chunks, but they got to go. Some people would leave and say, oh, they'll just fall down the oil pan and they'll be fine. Well, no, not me. I'm very clean about engines, because I've seen a little tiny bit of dirt get in a bearing and it's all over, you know. So this is my video for today. This Kohler engine is worth fixing. These engines, just for a short block, will cost you an arm and a leg. I forget what the price on them was, but we have one up there on the shelf in the corner above the air compressor, a brand new short block sitting there, and I forget what the price on it was. Well, I don't have to sell it to this guy. I'm gonna fix this engine, and you're gonna watch in my next week's video. So this is this week's. I may do more too, but I'll see what I can do. Well, I was gonna go home before, but I decided to stick around, and I'll let you know exactly what we found. We found one crack in the head gasket. That could have been a problem, but we found that loose rocker, and then I cleaned it all up nice. Just wanted to show you. I cleaned that. I cleaned that. I cleaned air gasket surface, and yeah. It took a little time, but I got it all looking very good in there. So the next video, like I was saying, will be of me putting it all back together with new gaskets and seals and the whole 9 yards. And hope it works. You know, I think I'll throw in a little bonus video. This is on the Kohler engine video. Well, this is an old Skaggs freewheeler, and it's in really decent shape. I saw this on Marketplace for $800, so I just had to have it. You know, these things mow great, and they run a side hill really good. And being the deck is out front, you can stick it under trees, and the way it swings around, you can suck the grass right off the tree. It's really a neat old machine, and I've been running these for years, and I keep finding them cheap over the years. I pick them up, I clean them up, I mow some lawn with it, then I sell it. And I have fun mowing with them, though. It's like riding on the back of this thing is like the G-forces and the, oh, it's just so much fun. So it's one of them things you can actually like have a good ride and have some fun while you're mowing and doing something. So it's kind of cool.